Hi, welcome to the season finale of TakChek or PekChek.
I'm Rayron.
I'm Nicholas.
And together we are an education lifestyle podcast where each week we'll discuss a topic at hand, and then after that, by the end of the show, we will decide whether or not the topic is interesting, which is
TakChek,
or frustrating, which is
PekChek.
Right. So for today, which is the last podcast of the year, okay, the school holiday season is almost over. At least by the time this episode airs, is going to be over already.
Yep.
So I think we have to ask ourselves, okay, Nicholas, back then when you were getting ready to go back to school, like how did you prepare yourself to get ready to go back to school?
This is never a topic that I thought that one day I would actually discuss about it, because I dread going back to school. But again, I think some of the mental checklists, the very immediate thing that I have in mind is that are my holiday assignment completed?
Okay.
And
You're the hardworking kind, right? You're that kind.
I try my best,
Okay.
and there is always a certain semblance of betrayal when the school actually starts, and on the first day, the teacher totally forgotten about the work that was given.
Yes.
Yes.
Or you change teacher, right?
Yeah, so the teacher, oh no, this teacher gave this, oh no, it's fine, okay, good that you did it. Then I was like, what? And strangely, as you go up all the way to JC, holiday homework it almost doesn't exist at all.
Yes, they don't give.
Yeah. So I think the other items was that weeks before the school start, I think this was at the very old time whereby there's no home delivery or sort, we will have our book list.
Yes.
Then we will travel back to the school. Then I remember in my mind, because I was a very, very obese boy, right? This was the moment that I really sweat bullets, because apart from getting the stationery, I need to buy uniform. And last time there isn't like those kind of like fitting rooms for you to try. So my mother will be very upset with me, and she will always use this time to berate me on why you never watch your diet, why you so fat. You see this person wear these same pants for 3 years. So
Mother's a savage. Huh?
Yeah, it's very sad. And this was in front of all the bookshop auntie. And then I think the most memorable part was that the bookshop auntie told me that there was no size available for me now, because I was just simply too white. And she gave us her personal name card. She said, you go to my factory, I will make the pants for you. So that at that was like P5, but I mean, it wasn't a breaking point for me to want to watch my diet more. I was like, oh, cool. You mean that there is pants of a bigger size? Okay. So I can continue on with my diet.
But your mother still scold you lah.
Scold. Sweating bullets. Then she's like, you are so fat, I eat so much. I tell you how many times already. Look at this. Yeah. So you'll go on and on and on and on from there. And this itself was a little bit better once we reached around like Sec 3, Sec 4. Primary school was bad, but Sec 3, Sec 4, usually they'll just mail out the clothes and the books to you.
Okay.
How about yourself? How will you prepare to start the new academic year?
Okay, so unlike you, who conscientiously does your homework, I'm the kind that doesn't do my homework.
Okay.
So for myself, right, usually I will have two options, which is either I faster wing it, last minute, or I go super duper early into school
and copy,
and then decide who to copy from. I think for primary school, I will actually make an effort to go and do my homework. But by the time I reach secondary school, right, I was damn rabat lah. So in secondary school, I'll be like, oh my gosh, who to copy from? So last time, right, we didn't have handphones, so we just go to the MSN Messenger or ICQ, right? Remember? Right, then you ask each other like, hey, who do the homework already? Who do the homework already? Hey, can borrow.
So there will be a goody two shoe that's
there will always be one source. Then everybody will copy from the source. Then we all have to decide like, how do I like change all the variables lah? How do I make it as if it doesn't look like it's copied?
So like same but different.
Yeah, same but different. And I think nowadays it's so easy for people to communicate with each other, right? And it's so easy to coordinate all this. But I want to tell all the students, your teachers are not idiots. Okay, for all the students who are watching this, your teachers confirm know, even if you change out the variables, right? Like for myself as a teacher now I sit on the other side of the fence. When students copy each other, right, can tell one. Your teachers are not idiots. It's just whether or not they decide to close one eye or not.
Okay, but we're just to take a separate view here. I think this might not be a very popular opinion, and this is more for the parents. Like, yes, copying your work from your fellow classmate is not desirable because you lack the learning moment. Okay, But I'm thinking from another perspective as to the student turn up to the class and not doing anything at all and living blank and like not taking responsibility. I feel like the whole idea of I even want to copy is a step of trying to take some responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think copying is not 100% bad, because I remember when I used to copy my work, and I'm not saying that students should be doing this either, but I remember when I used to copy my work, what I will try to do is at least try to learn from the copied answer lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember and this was in university as well. So I remember in university, there were a few tutorials which I didn't have time to do. I simply did not have time to do. So I borrowed a friend's tutorial, and then I sat down and then I copied his work. And then I remember that as I was copying his work, I was trying to reverse engineer what the question was.
Okay.
I didn't even have time to look at the questions. So I was trying to reverse engineer what the question was. I was trying to see like, oh, okay, understand he's working, like, yeah. So what did he do? And in the end, for the next quiz, right, I actually scored higher than the friend that I copied from.
Okay.
But okay, I'm not saying that this is desirable. Of course, at the end of the day, it is still better for learning for you to actually sit down and do the tutorial yourself, right? But I think
it's better than not doing anything lah.
Yes, it's better than not doing anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other things that I used to do for myself, I think everybody does this, which is I set New Year's resolution for myself. New year, new me. All right.
Okay.
I resolve to not copy my work, or resolve to do my work properly.
Okay. Do you ever follow through? Maybe for the first 1 week.
For the first, not so bad lah.
Okay, 1 month.
So 1 month lah.
1 month. Okay.
Not so bad. Okay, so I resolved to study hard. I resolved to do revision over my own work at regular intervals. But at the end of the day, usually I will only survive for like about a month lah. Or maybe I think the longest I actually survived was about a term.
Then after that, you go back to your old ways.
I'll go back to my old ways already.
But with regards for myself, when it comes to the whole idea of New Year resolution, mine is, I think you're going to laugh about it, but mine is which game I prioritize to clear. Like, I recall at that time, I think you are probably aware of it, our parents, those whose parents were like, give the kids like a console, a PlayStation or sort.
Yeah.
All right. And at that time, we have like RPG games, you have to like spend hours grinding and all. But when it's time for holiday, I think my mother, again, she's the protagonist in this podcast because we keep talking about her. She will put the PlayStation there, all right, giving me the illusion that I can play anytime, but she'll keep the power adapter, the power brick. Wow. So it's like in Chinese term, 望梅止渴. It means like, you're so thirsty, right? But you look at the plum to satisfy your thirst. Right? So every time I want to play, I just keep looking at the PlayStation, but I cannot play. So sometimes I'll just go there and again, like press the open close button of the disc tray, just to open. And so for me, my New Year resolution, yes, I'll think about what games to play. But the main thing for my New Year's resolution, cycling back towards the whole uniform thing, is to watch my diet. But then after 1 month or so, I just give up on that already. So I just roll on from there.
Okay. I mean, for myself, I mentioned in the previous podcast before, my parents used to hide the game console during the school term.
Okay.
Then only during school holidays, then they'll take it out. So I only could play during the school holidays.
But you know where they hide?
No. I don't know. Because sometimes I think my dad would bring it all the way to his own office.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So there's no way for me to physically go to his office.
Okay.
Right? So, they hid the game console. So, towards the end of the holiday, I'll be like, oh no. I think 1 week or 2 weeks ago, I'll be like, before the holiday ends, I'll be like, okay, what game do I want to clear? And usually it's the RPG. Because I think like one-off games like Street Fighter or I don't know, Worms or whatever, like those are easy to pick up again.
Correct.
Right? But RPG, like once you are gone for like 3 whole months, then you come back to the story, you're like, where did I start from?
So you'll binge through lah.
So I'll binge the RPG. Usually I'll binge the RPG.
But I think your parents also know it's your last ditch effort to play.
Yes.
Will they like stop you and say like, no?
I think they will complain lah. They will complain.
Okay.
But I don't distinctly remember me going through that long a marathon session. until my parents really like, hey, I gotta stop this during the holidays also.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So the last one here that my spouse and I actually is very fond of it is, you remember we received the textbook. So we will sit down. Okay, so something about me, I think this is like a very important ritual, is that I sit down, I arrange the books according to subjects. All right, and then this very ritualistic moment whereby I take the plastic cover.
Yes. My mom used to do that also.
Okay, then you slot it into the books, at the side of the plastic cover, and then there's this very like plasticky smell that comes from it that reminds you that.
I know.
Yeah. Then
did your mom used to buy like the ready-made kind?
No. So ready-made kind was only available, like we only purchased it right around primary 5, primary 6. But prior to it, it's like really like,
you
like
buy the telt, and then you must cut,
correct.
Right?
It's like the army telt, then we cut, then we have to put the sticker. Then I always remember I'll pester my dad, who has a very nice handwriting, to write like my name in front and everything. So it's like very precious. Then after that, I record. There was once after that was done. My mom is very particular about my tidiness, so we will need to slot the books into like sort of like a cabinet and arrange it to like, last time there's this like Pac-Man sheet. There's a book A, book B, the Pac-Man worksheet and all. Yeah. So they will separate it into Pac-Man sheet, like book A, book B. So I have to arrange according to the semester. Then of all things, also must arrange according to height of the book.
Oh yeah, but how do you arrange according to height? I suppose each subject they will have all a uniform height.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my mother will scold me if, let's say, I was because she will say that you want to play your game, you can put the plastic together with me, then arrange the book. So I will hastily and now put, then I got scolded again.
I remember I'll do this with my mom as well. So wrapping the books. I don't know why my mom never decided to buy the ready-made ones.
So it's manual.
All throughout we will manually cut. So for my schoolmates in secondary school, right? I think in secondary school I didn't bother to wrap the textbooks anymore. But I am aware that there are some people in my secondary school, right? Because like especially in upper sec, the textbooks are very, very thick.
They cut the spine, is it?
They cut the spine. So they prepare it by cutting the spine into like, this term I'll be learning what, that term I'll be learning what.
Okay.
So do you used to do this?
No, I am aware of people who do it, but instead of doing that, they cut the spine and then they punch hole and put in a file. So it's for like this term, I need to bring only these few leaflet, that I'll bring it from there.
I know there are people who do this so that they don't have to carry around the whole
heavy textbook.
In my head at the time, I was like, why you all so weak?
Yeah. But secondary school, actually, you see biophysics chem textbook, they're quite thick.
And even lower sec also, if I recall correctly, the math textbook, if I remember, was very, very thick. Right? So another thing that I will tend to do is prepare my stationery. So as a guy, I will my pencil box is very Spartan, right? I don't have like 1 million markers. And as a guy also throughout the entire school year, right, your pencil box tends to collect a lot of nonsense.
Yes.
Right? So you have 10 erasers that are broken up, and then you have a lot of the eraser shaving balls. So I will use to like erase, then collect all the balls and then roll it up into a little ball, right? Yeah. So I'll tend to collect all these eraser shaving balls inside the pencil box. Then for some reason there'll be pencil shavings, right? And pencil leads that are like loose all over the place. Right? So as a guy, I think my pencil box tends to be like that.
Mine is quite terrible as well. No housekeeping inside. And back in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, but national exams at our time, we were not recommended to use correction fluid.
Yes, cannot.
Yeah,
cannot.
so
I think
not even correction tape. Yeah, so I think they just wanted to strike it out from there.
Yes.
So as a result, I recall back in the day, there was no friction pilot pen, the one that comes
friction also cannot use now.
No,
for exams.
Yeah, so what we do is that there is this dual eraser whereby the pencil one and the blue one for the ink one.
Right?
Yes, correct. I used that to erase and all. But it was terrible. So
that's a scam, I think. It's supposed to remove a layer of the paper.
Correct.
Right. So I never understood how that worked.
But the most stationary kind of thing that I will always tend to restock is actually we have those erasers that you use with your hand, those in cuboids, but mine is the dispenser kind. So you have like, it's sort of like a mechanical pencil, but it's this whole column of eraser.
Now there's a tube kind.
Yes.
Then now there's a square kind as well,
correct.
right?
So I used to top up a lot on that.
So for myself, when I was preparing my pencil box, I think for the new year, for me, very simple. I have I only at the time in secondary school I will only go for pilot G2. Pilot G2 and my personal preference there's 0.5 and 0.7.
Okay.
My personal preference is 0.7.
Okay.
Yeah, because I tend to press down very hard when I
So
write.
you bend the tip, right?
Yeah, so if the pen is thicker, then it tends to write a little bit smoother. Right? So at the time it was Pilot G2 lah. Now I think there are a lot more options out there in the market. I think now the go-to or my go-to and my wife's go-to as well is Sarasa.
Okay.
The Sarasa pen.
Okay. That is by Uniball, is it?
I think so. I think it's by Uni.
Uni. Okay.
Yeah, Uniball is their ballpoint pen.
Okay, so Uni is the parent brand.
Yeah. So that I've been preparing the stationery lah, and I think for my kids as well. So I mean I'm a parent of a primary school going kid. So I think I also on top of thinking about what I used to do for myself, I must also think about what I must do for my kid as well. So now that my kid has just been enjoying this holiday like doing nothing, and so much so that my daughter who is in preschool also is jealous of my older boy
because
he's like,
she has to go to school.
Yeah, she has to go to school. And then every morning she'll cry like, oh, why Coco don't need to go to school? Why Coco don't need to go to school? So yeah, my son has just been relaxing.
Okay.
But due to several reasons, he's on a complete video game ban.
Okay.
So we've just been bringing him to the library a lot, getting him to read a lot of books, and then he's also been watching a lot of TV lah.
Okay.
Actually, to me, I feel it's a bit too much screen time. But yes, he's mainly been spending his time reading and watching TV. Okay. So, but I think for getting him mentally prepared for the new year, we haven't really done this yet. But definitely, I'm going to bring him to the school and then get his books.
Okay.
And then get him to think about what he used to do last year, as well as what routine he needs to be doing for the year ahead. All right. And of course, for me and my wife, we have to discuss like what are the enrichment courses that we want to send our kids to, as well as how we can make that work out for our schedule. Right? And of course, any new rules pertaining to screen time moving forward.
You can't avoid, you have to embrace screen time already, right?
Yes, I think so.
It's more of like a feature than a bug at this moment.
Yeah, but I think ideally screen time, every parent will say like, no, if I can reduce it, I would lah. But I think to keep ourselves sane as parents, right, there has to be some screen time that you build in.
So we have
everything,
our own.
Everything in moderation as well.
But for the tuition sessions itself, or enrichment sessions, how will you recommend our listeners, their parents, to under what kind of rubrics to decide what enrichment or what tuition session to go to? Okay,
so my kids are still young. I think academic-wise, I'm not too concerned at this point in time, because I think primary school they have like mini quizzes, but it's not like a year-end exam that I need to be concerned about, or WAs that I really need to be concerned about. So I think I'm fine for myself because I don't speak very much Chinese at home. Okay. And my wife also doesn't speak very much Chinese at home. What we try to do, we send our kids for Chinese lah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I think as far as English and math and science is concerned, between myself and my wife, we are both teachers. Like in primary school, we can handle it.
Okay.
So I think at this point we are sending our kids more for physical things.
Okay. So like gym
classes, swimming classes. Okay. All right. Previously, my son used to go for piano classes, but we stopped him after a while because he didn't seem that interested. But I think recently he expressed interest again, so maybe I might consider sending him for piano again lah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So actually, when kids go back to school, contrary to popular belief, parents are still very much busy and at hand and on hand because now there's a fixed routine to go back to already.
Yes. And I think parents, there's still this mental load. But at least the actual physical demands of the kids, the mental, emotional kids, the mental emotional load is not there because the kids are there, you know what I
So
mean?
it's not they're in school,
because they're in school. So you can do all this, you can take some time to do all this planning, and on top of that, also go and do your work lah. It's not very much time, but yes.
Yes, you can do your work as well. So I feel like the whole, eventually at what point, just curious, at what point will you think that a child should be independent enough to tell you that, hey daddy, hey mommy, I need to buy this, I need to buy that, I need to prep this, I need to prep that, and instead of us hollering after them, hey, have you done this, have you done that? And
I think as far as possible, right? I think my wife and I, our priority is really, we try to equip him with the skills for him to do it as soon as possible. So right now we are doing it for him, and we are asking him questions along the way, like, what do you think? What do you think we need to prepare? What do you think you need to be doing?
Get him some ownership, some skin in the game.
Yes.
Alright, I see it from there. So I think for myself, my girl is pretty young lah. So technically there's no long elongated school holidays per se because at the preschool age, right? So I'm curious to see how this will radically change, because I did hear from you throughout this entire year that when your son pivoted to primary school, planning for school holidays are actually quite difficult.
Yes,
traveling and all from there. So anyway, for most students and also the parents that's hearing out there, we genuinely feel that for holiday is really a time for both the parents and the kids to rejuvenate, while the academic rigor of Singapore means that eventually they have to pick up their haversack and continue on their journey for the next year. I still personally think that this is a very important time that you spend some togetherness lah, you know, to be mindful of the moment, because you're busy with your work, your child's busy with studies, so reconnecting with them is actually pretty important from them. And using this particular medium and this particular period could be helpful to find out any pertaining underlying issues lah. So I'm just saying that I hear from some of my students that they feel a bit left out, that they see their peers going for holidays, you know, and they are stuck in Singapore. But I think some took it in a more positive light. So some of the older kids, like the Sec 4 who are just done the O levels, alright, they actually took time out to look for part-time jobs to enrich that session. Yeah, so I think all the more, I think you must have a little bit of a contrast. You know, just like how both of us, when we were in NS, I don't know about you, all right, but for me, that personally, when I was done with NS, all right, and I went to uni, there's this renewed vigor in me, like, no, I want to do well, you know, I want to excel. I should recall that I was in the forest in Sungai Gedong doing training, and just opposite me is the NTU hostel. Yeah, so it's like between like military and things. So I think that the contrast does really help students to eventually pick up the slack and really to move on from there lah. So today is a relatively short podcast. We will return soon for another season of TakChek or PekChek. If you have any comments or any interesting topics, you can reach out to us. All right. And anyway, before we conclude for today's session, Weiren, do you think this is a TakChek or a PekChek topic for today?
Okay, I mean, definitely I feel that it's a TakChek thing lah. I think going back to school, of course, internally it might feel a little bit sian, a little bit of resistance to going back to school, but I think at the same time the new year also has new opportunities and new promises. Okay, so yeah, I generally feel that going back to school is an exciting thing, so this is a TakChek
moment
topic for me.
Alright. For me, I'll definitely also pivot towards TakChek.
Yes.
Alright, that will be my opinion, because I am just going to be blunt and say that this is a ritual that all Singaporeans, or most Singaporeans, have to go through. So rather than to avoid, we should learn to embrace. And something that I will hope that the students can learn from the academic rigor from here is actually that it's not so much about the results. Definitely, if you do well in a very meritocracy society, you get access to more places. But I think it's the character building, the act of discipline, whereby you are doing things that you don't necessarily like, but there is this adherence to a certain routine. And I think that this will help you in many facets of your life eventually from there. All right. So thank you for today. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.